Alright guys, Mittaen from Team Endpoint here. Today I'm gonna show you guys my settings I use in game, and hopefully you guys can use them maybe to like rank up yourselves or like feel like you play differently, maybe even better. Let's get into it. Trading, gameplay settings don't really matter, to be honest. This all depends on like your internet. If you have good internet, you kind of know what to do, like put everything on high. If you have bad internet, I don't know actually what to do there. What I like to use these camera settings. For me, they're very comfortable. I've kind of used them since the start of my career. Like I've been playing around with like height to maybe 110, then you have it a bit higher, you see a bit more, to 90, which is a bit lower, and you see better when you aerial. It's very dependent on like how you play as a player, but I like 100 height personally, and the rest of the camera settings. Stiffness, very important actually. If you do one stiffness, for example, like your car stays in the center of the screen at all times. If you put it to 0, your car doesn't stay in the center at all, basically, like it just swerves around a little. Especially when you hit the ball, like it follows the ball more, and your car goes a bit to the side and the ball stays in the center. So what you try and do most of the time is you get like a bit of a balance, like 0.4 is what I use. I know some pros use 0.6, but none of them really use like one stiffness. I know some like very little use 0 stiffness, but in general, like you want to have a mix of all of it. Transition speed, it's like when you go away from ball cam and non-ball cam. What I like to do is I have it around 1.3, because when you like look around the pitch then with ball cam, you still see if you transition, rather than if you go, for example, to 2, it's just insta. You don't see what's like in between. So I like to have that a bit lower so you can like a decent view of the pitch as well while you swivel around. Controls, I use 1.5 sensitivity for both, 0.07 dead zone and 0.8 dodge dead zone. The dodge dead zone for me is always like, it's been very high, because if you, for example, with your controller, you gotta like double jump, right? And if you even move your stick the littlest, if it's on low dodge dead zone, so like 0.4 for example, if you move your stick a little and you try and double jump, you flip most of the time, so I have it a bit higher. Then 1.5 sensitivity, I used to be a 1.3 player or 1.2, I don't remember exactly, but the high sensitivity is very nice, even though it's not that high compared to other players, but it is very nice to use, like especially for your control. Like you have a bit more control, but the car still feels like a bit light, so you can do like whatever you want with the car. And then you have controller dead zone. This is like, I'd say you keep this dead zone between 0.10 to 0.05 most of the time. I use it 0.07 because that's like depends on how much you move your stick before there's like input into the game. So you don't want to have that too high, otherwise you got to put your stick all the way to the outside before it like has any input. Bindings, I have basically everything default except my boost and my arrow left. Like I use my boost on R1. Jump just on X, then I have my power slide arrow on L1, and then I have arrow left on L2. What I like to do is like, I used to like struggle with boost on circle, because then you'd have to boost and like jump at the same time. My fingers aren't big enough for that actually, so I kind of just changed it to R1. It's a more comfortable grip on the controller as well. And then L2 for like arrowing, so you have like basically a lot of free space with your fingers as long as you hold the controller a decent way. Also, one thing I'd like to touch on real quick is arrow, like the difference between arrow left, normal arrow. I don't use arrow right, but if you use arrow right, it's basically like your controller's just like to the right, like you're just spinning midair to the right. Normal arrow, you can do basically everything. It's like a bit harder. Like I used to have normal arrow only, but now I use like arrow left. So normal arrow I only use to the right now, but basically normal arrow you can do everything you want. Directional arrow you can do like these kind of spins like very easy, you just have like full control over it, but you only do that to one direction. So if I was to use directional arrow left, which I'm doing right now, I just like spin to the left even if I only like hold my boost and my arrow button basically. And I can't do the same normal arrow, because with normal arrow I also need to like touch my joystick, and with directional arrow I won't have to do that. Interface, this doesn't really matter. Maybe like the only thing that matters is the nameplate scale. Like for other people in game, like nameplate, I like it a bit bigger, so I basically know where they are at all times. And then this is something not a lot of people have. Like, I only have match notifications for kickoffs. You can use it for time updates as well, but for example, like when there's 10 seconds left on the game, I don't get a notification in the middle of my screen. I just like only see it at the top. So I just basically, when it's 0 seconds, if I'm like playing with loud music or something, most of the time I don't realize it. But if I am in a competitive scene, I don't have any like music loud, or like I only have comms, and then you basically only see it at the top because like sometimes it gets in the way of where the ball is and it's like hard to see. We have video settings. These are the video settings I use. Render is always high quality no matter where I go. I basically don't have anything on at all. Like, I don't like motion blur. It's very annoying because everything gets like a bit blurry. I basically use everything on performance and low intensity. Like, it's how I play every game, just on low settings basically, so I get as many frames as possible. And then audio, I don't have any music audio on. I don't use voice chat basically, and like I just have my gameplay sound like decently high, so I can hear everything, even when like me and my teammates are communicating, or when I have music on, I can still hear the gameplay in the background. Alright, that was my settings videos for today, guys. Thank you for watching, appreciate it. Subscribe if you feel like you need more of these videos. Me and my teammates will definitely like have more of these videos, whether it's boost management or like air dribbling. Like, make sure to subscribe and look forward to those videos.